there's things that are added that you individually do, okay? And we have to recognize that those things are our own embellishments. They're not part of the basic retreat. And what we want to transmit is the basic retreat. An example, at St. Thomas, on Monday night, during the retreat, there are the crosses, and we have lit candles for the retreat on the table during the retreat. And on Monday night, during the cross ceremony, we give them a cross. We also give them a candle. Okay, that's something that we've embellished at St. Thomas, giving a candle. Giving the candle is not part of the retreat. It's not a requirement. So when you're going to do a retreat in, like I did in Lena, Illinois, where their weekly collection is $800 a week, they don't have the funds to buy a candle for everyone on the retreat. It's just so it's a very small thing, okay, a small example, but maybe there are things that you do on your retreats that are a little different than normal. I know Elizabeth and Seton, for example, I know you guys do the retreat a little bit differently than is the way the retreat is modeled. So we'll want to model the retreat as it's modeled by the original writers, by Ellie and Jean and Monsignor, okay? And we'll help everyone through that process, okay? Between myself and John and Brian and Joellen, we'll help you through that process so that you understand exactly what those basic pieces are, okay? And that's that 4-day model, okay? So traveling team. Traveling team main evangelizer. If you're assigned to be and choose to be a main evangelizer on a retreat, you're going to be doing that first retreat in the parish. Okay, you're going to be working closely with the pastor and with the leadership at that parish to set up the very first retreat. When you went on the information day, the main evangelist, when you went on the information day, one of the key things that you'll want to do on that information day is you'll want to take some time after you do the information day to do a site review with the pastor or with the team, so you can kind of envision for yourself, how would I conduct the retreat here? Where would the main retreat be held? Where would we do breakout rooms? Where would we do chapel? Where would we do hospitality? So that you can have that all working in your mind, because you're thinking about how you're going to put on a whole retreat. You're going to work with the pastor to talk to him about promotion, how he's going to market, how he's going to promote the retreat. Again, Joellen has all sorts of resources on bulletin articles that they'll use. They'll want to have announcements at pulpit announcements Sundays before the retreat, and Joellen has information about how that is done and so forth. But you'll be working with them very closely to model and set up the first retreat. You'll have just like you would on any other retreat as the main evangelizer, you'll have your evangelizer talks, and you'll assign those talks to your evangelizers, and you'll need to review those talks. We all do talks, and especially if you're, in some cases, you're going to be having people maybe that are not from your parish, people that you know. This way you can review talks and make sure that stories can, put together and so forth and so on. You can give heads up to people about stories that are in other people's talks and so forth, and how they might connect to your talk and things like that, okay? So you're reviewing talks and making sure that all fits together, okay? Now, we've all done talks, and it's a big commitment to go out and do a travel team. So what you would want to do as a main evangelizer is talk to the people who are going to go out with you and find out what talks they've already done, okay? So they're not having to write a whole bunch of new talks in this whole process as well. Maybe they won't, maybe they'll want to. Maybe they want to write one new talk, but hopefully you can find that you've done enough talks that you can overlap. One of the tricky parts of the first retreat is that you typically don't have someone who's done the talks that the priests typically do, the sin talk, the enemies talk, and perhaps the surrender talk, the very last Holy Spirit talk. So you'll take care of doing those, okay? And we can help you through that process as well.
Sometimes the priest does do that. Even though they've never seen the retreat, a lot of times the priest will say, we give them the outline and we ask them if they could do it, and sometimes they do.
Good, good. So in that case, you wouldn't have that responsibility, okay? Shepherds. So how do we handle shepherds on an outbound retreat, okay? Well, first of all, you have your 4 evangelizers, so you're going to be doubling up as shepherds as well. For more local retreats, so if it's somewhere where you're going to be able to drive to, we can take a larger team than just those 4 evangelists. We can actually take shepherds with us, okay? So, for example, I've done, all of the 3 retreats I've done, travel team, Wadsworth, Illinois, and Twin Lakes, Wisconsin, and Lena, Illinois. I took a whole team with me. So I took a whole group from St. Thomas, and we had shepherds, and those shepherds then covered on chapel team and service and things like that. If you are going to a point where you're traveling somewhere, you're going to California to do a retreat, you're going to Alabama to do a retreat, then what you do is you will talk to that pastor and get that pastor to identify for you some people in that parish that could be shepherds for you. And basically they're just going to be leading the group. So there are people that have that capability, people that maybe they have a Bible study in their parish, and that person who runs the Bible study would be a good person to be a shepherd, things like that. So they'll help you identify those people. Hopefully, when you travel out to do the retreat, you'll be able to meet with those people before the retreat. So the retreat starts on Friday evening, maybe Friday afternoon. You could have those people who are going to be shepherds come and meet with you, and you can go over some of the basics of being a shepherd just so they understand what they're committed to, okay? Otherwise, you have to do that on the phone with them or something like that.
Can I
Yes,
just
Mary.
share a very quick story about
Please.
that? We went to Canada, and we had done for 3 parishes, done a beginning retreat, and then we went back and did individual parish retreats. The parish I was going to didn't want to shepherd, they didn't want to write talks. It was difficult because here I am in Chicago and we're talking about Vancouver. So the Lord just kept giving me this message over and over again. He just said, just take the message. Like he was going to handle it. So what the pastor did was he had everybody write. And then he went through and picked the talks. And it was interesting. I got there on Thursday night, spent a quick meeting time with the people to get them to shepherd. They didn't want to shepherd, they were scared to lead a small group. So I just gave them a quick overview of what the shepherds do, and by the end, I ended up pairing up 2 people in a small group so that they weren't afraid. So, I mean, it'll work out. It'll work out. If you're far away, it can work out.
And Mary brings up a good point, okay, a travel team. You have to be adaptable. I mean, that's probably the biggest thing, This is how we do it at St. Thomas. This is how we do it at Holy Family. This is how we do it at Elizabeth Seton. You're just going to have to adapt. Okay, you have to be flexible. Kind of think on your feet a little bit. You have to work on your feet a little bit. But it always, like Mary said, it always works. One thing and Brian said it too. It's the retreat does itself, and the Holy Spirit takes care of everything. So you just gotta be there and do it, and it all happens. Okay. So that's kind of the shepherd piece. Hospitality. How do you do hospitality when you go on the road? In a lot of cases, parishes have some sort of a hospitality function. They have the funeral luncheon ladies, maybe, or they have the Knights of Columbus, or they have Holy Name Society or something where there's a group of people who will commit to maybe not even go on that first retreat, but they'll do the hospitality part of it, and you can help them through that process. Again, Joellen has all sorts of spreadsheets that she has put together, that people who've done hospitality here at St. Thomas have put together that kind of detail all the different things that need to be done, and it's quite easy to do, and it's doable. Okay, and again, it doesn't have to be overdone. It doesn't have to be overdone. I mean, that's probably the biggest tendency with hospitality. We have it here at St. Thomas sometimes. That people want to just do so much and make it so nice. It really doesn't have to be overdone. Materials. So there are basic materials. There's I have them back there. I didn't bring them up here, but you all know there's a retreat manual, and there's an administration manual for the retreat. So the retreat manual has all the talks in it. All the basic talks that you will use to review all the talks. The administration manual actually has a description of each of the roles, the evangelizers, the hospitality, the chapel, and what is entailed for all those things. So they will get all those materials up front, and you can review those with them while you're talking through the process with them.